Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal 148 based on novel. So let's start. The middle-aged man respectfully said, "It was a flying sword." This junior looked at it and saw that it was very ordinary. Perhaps it really did have something special about it, but I don't believe it was strong. That kind of treasure doesn't meet the requirements of our pavilion. He didn't dare to show any disrespect to the old man. Although this old man was only at the early stage of soul formation, he had a very high status in the pavilion. The middle-aged man vaguely knew that this old man had once reached the mid-stage of soul transformation, but due to his injuries, his cultivation fell to the soul formation stage. The old man looked at Wang Lin's gradually disappearing figure. There was a hint of doubt in his eyes, but soon he shook his head and walked back into the whole treasure pavilion. That person is somewhat familiar. The old man appeared to be extremely tired. After he returned to the building, he sat down on a rocking chair in the corner. He bitterly touched his chest before letting out a sigh and silently staring at the ground. Wang Lin left the whole treasure pavilion and walked toward the elegant green bamboo pavilion. Although this pavilion wasn't large, it had a sense of elegance. Upon stepping inside, Wang Lin looked around and saw wooden shelves lining the walls. There was a small box on each shelf, and the inside of each box was lined in yellow silk. All kinds of magical treasures, pills, and other things were placed in them. There was a young scholar sitting inside the pavilion. He had an ancient book in his hand, and he seemed to be reading with great interest. When the youth noticed Wang Lin entering, he put down the book, got up, and smiled. "Although our shop isn't large, we have quite a collection of goods. I wonder what friend needs." This person's cultivation was only at the early stage of nascent soul. When he saw Wang Lin, he didn't show the arrogance the person from the whole treasure pavilion showed. Instead, he had an easy and enthusiastic greeting. Wang Lin faintly smiled. He slapped his bag of holding and the flying sword came out. He asked, "Would fellow cultivator accept his sword?" When the young man looked at the sword, his eyebrows slightly wrinkled and he revealed a wry smile. "Fellow cultivator, this sword. Forget it, can you let me examine the sword?" The youth's attitude was extremely easygoing. Wang Lin smiled and pushed with this right hand. The flying sword gently flew toward the youth. The youth scanned it with his divine sense and said, "This sword is extremely ordinary. I'm afraid, The youth only spoke half a sentence when his eyes suddenly opened wide. He stared at the ordinary-looking flying sword with eyes filled with shock. He suddenly raised his head to look at Wang Lin and quickly said, "Fellow cultivator, the spell inside the flying sword." Wang Lin smiled. "You'll know when you try it." The youth took a deep breath and suppressed the shock in his heart. He had checked the inside of the flying sword with his divine sense and found a spell inside it. He couldn't see through this spell, but the pressure it gave off made his nascent soul tremble. He cycled the spiritual energy in his body and injected it into the flying sword. The moment the spiritual energy touched the spell inside the sword, a powerful sword energy immediately burst forth. At the same time, the youth felt like he had become one with water. His eyes revealed a pleasant surprise. Although the spell on the sword hadn't been activated yet, just the spiritual energy integration already classified it as a mid-quality magical treasure. He didn't immediately try to activate the spell but manipulated the sword and pointed at the large high-quality spirit stone outside the shop. The sword shot out in a ray of light toward the spirit stone. Without a sound, the sword pierced through the spirit stone and flew back. "Good sword." As the youth looked at the flying sword, his eyes revealed admiration. However, there was a hint of regret in them. This level of integration can be considered mid-quality. Such fierce spiritual energy can even be considered high quality. Unfortunately, its speed doesn't match the sword. What a pity. What a pity. As he spoke, he activated the spell inside the flying sword, and at that instant, his pupils suddenly shrank. He watched the flying sword disappear before him and reappear 100 feet away. The youth's body trembled and he immediately stepped out of the shop. He waved his right hand and the flying sword immediately teleported back. The youth's eyes were no longer filled with ecstasy but shock. He sucked in a breath of cold air and pointed at the spirit stone again. The flying sword teleported and pierced through the spirit stone. This is teleportation. The youth had his mouth wide open. He quickly called the flying sword back and held it in his hand. His heart was as complete mess right now. Generally, it was impossible to leave a teleportation spell inside a flying sword, because a sword couldn't handle the friction of teleportation. Also, without a heavenly cultivation level, it would be impossible to brand a sword with a teleportation spell. More importantly, even if one had the cultivation, unless they had extremely powerful methods and a special domain, it would be impossible to make the teleportation spell last forever. Wang Lin's life and death domain was what allowed the flying sword's teleportation spell to last forever. However, if the balance was broken, the spell would still expire. The youth grabbed the flying sword. He hurried back into the shop while looking at Wang Lin and hurriedly said, "Fellow cultivator, this shop wants this sword. Are 10,000 high-quality spirit stones enough?" Wang Lin slightly frowned. The cultivation level of the youth before him was too low. Using spiritual energy, he was only able to use 1/10 of its power. The youth saw Wang Lin frown and pondered for a moment. He clenched his teeth and said, "Fellow cultivator, I can add 50,000 more high-quality spirit stones. Although this sword is a top-quality spiritual treasure, I have already given a very high price." Wang Lin frowned and asked, "Do you guys have soul transformation cultivators?" The youth was startled. He revealed a look of displeasure and asked, "What does fellow cultivator mean? Do you think my cultivation level isn't high enough to see through the flying sword? We do have soul transformation seniors, and since you asked, I'll ask for one to come." The youth slapped his bag of holding and a jade flew out. After leaving a message in it, he threw the jade and it flew out of the shop. After sending out the jade, the youth silently sat in the chair and started playing with the flying sword in his hand. With Wang Lin's cultivation, he naturally wouldn't bother with a low-ranked cultivator. He had already reached the status of a master. At this moment, he smiled and looked around at the magical treasures in the shop. By contrast, the youth wasn't nearly as calm. After some time, his gaze fell on Wang Lin and he revealed a hint of shock. In his eyes, although this cultivator was only at the late stage of core formation, for an instant, he felt like he was looking at his family's patriarch or elders. Wang Lin's casual and calm expression was not something a core formation cultivator should have, but this person was indeed at the late stage of core formation. He did consider that Wang Lin could be hiding his cultivation, but the green bamboo pavilion had formations placed by the family's elders. Unless someone had reached the ascendant stage, it would be impossible to hide. Not long after, a gentle breeze came from outside. After the breeze disappeared, an old man stepped into the pavilion. The first thing the old man looked at was the flying sword in the youth's hand. When he saw the sword, there was a flash of light in his eyes. When the youth saw the old man, he immediately stood up and respectfully said, "Junior son Mu greets elder." The old man softly replied and his gaze swept Wang Lin. His expression didn't change as he calmly asked, "Was it this person who asked for a magical treasure to be tested?" The youth quickly nodded and respectfully presented the sword in his hand. At the moment the old man entered, Wang Lin took a glance and withdrew his gaze. This old man was at the late stage of soul transformation. Although not at the peak, he had obviously been tested with many life and death situations, so his mind was much more tempered compared to the 4 little fellows he met before. The old man didn't waste any time. He waved his right hand and caught the flying sword. After he swept it with his divine sense, his calm expression was replaced with shock. "Elder, Junior has looked at this treasure," the youth beside the old man spoke. As he spoke, the old man suddenly shot a look at the youth that caused him to swallow the second half of that sentence. The old man flicked the flying sword with his finger. It released a crisp sword hymn that immediately echoed across the building. This sound was like heavenly music and was pleasing to the ears. His eyes were filled with even more shock as he waved his right hand. The sword flew out and disappeared. This time it teleported more 500 kilometers away. The next instant, the sword appeared next to the old man and circled him. The sword gave of celestial spiritual energy, and the fierce sword energy was like a drawn bow. More importantly, There were strands of lightning moving along the sword. The old man stared at the lightning and pondered for a bit. He raised his finger and touched the lightning. A crisp bang echoed across the room, then the old man's expression immediately turned pale and he took several steps back. It took him a while to recover. Not only did he not reveal any anger, his face was filled with ecstasy. The youth was completely startled after seeing all of this. He naturally saw that under the old man's control, this sword had celestial spiritual energy, celestial treasure. This is a celestial treasure. The youth was dumbfounded. Not celestial treasure, but a pseudo-celestial treasure. There is a greater teleportation spell engraved in it, and in addition, the lightning is what makes the treasure precious. Without this lightning, this object could only be considered a normal pseudo-celestial treasure. However, this lightning makes a big difference. The old man didn't try to deliberately hide anything. As he spoke, he looked toward Wang Lin. This should have been gifted to you by your family. Are you sure you want to sell it? 3,000 celestial jades. Wang Lin didn't reply but quoted a price. The old man's eyes narrowed and carefully examined Wang Lin. Without a word, he slapped his bag of holding and a pile of celestial jades immediately appeared on the ground. Dense celestial spiritual energy immediately filled the entire green bamboo pavilion. Wang Lin waved his sleeves and put the celestial jades inside his bag of holding. The old man looked at Wang Lin and asked, "Do you have other pseudo-celestial treasures?" Wang Lin's expression was still neutral as he touched his bag of holding. He immediately took out a bronze mirror and threw it at the old man. The old man caught it and his expression immediately changed like it never had before. This time he was even more shocked than he was at the flying sword. He exclaimed, "Inheritance pseudo-celestial treasure." As the old man stared at the inheritance pseudo-celestial treasure, his eyes revealed a well-hidden trace of greed. A hint of a smile that was not a smile flashed across Wang Lin's eyes. He didn't pretend to panic or act out in any way, he still was as calm as he had always been. He didn't want to take the initiative to steal celestial jades. However, if this old man wanted to rob him, then he wouldn't be killing to steal treasure, he would be acting in righteous self-defense. As a result, even if he killed someone, he would have the moral high ground. Adding his powerful cultivation, no one would dare to call him out on planet Ranyun. After 800 years of cultivation, not only did Wang Lin gain wit, he also knew how to deal with sinister plots. However, he rarely revealed his sinister side. Now that he had changed his appearance, even someone who was familiar with him would not be able to identify him based just on this. There was a hint of hesitation in the old man's eyes. Shortly after, he let out a long breath, and while holding the bronze mirror, he asked, "How many celestial jades do you want for this?" Wang Lin's tone was calm as he slowly said, 50,000. The old man frowned. Although he could take out 50,000 celestial jades from his bag, he had spent nearly a century accumulating them slowly in preparation for the future. He was worried he wouldn't have enough for reaching the ascendant stage if he spent them now. As he pondered, he lowered his head to look at the bronze mirror and hesitated. He was extremely tempted by this treasure. It has to be said that a soul transformation cultivator with an inheritance pseudo-celestial treasure was very different. If the treasure was powerful enough, he could battle against peak late-stage soul transformation cultivators. Although he didn't know what power the bronze mirror had, as long as it was an inheritance treasure, it wouldn't be weak. It wasn't that he hadn't considered killing to steal the treasure, but when he looked at the youth's eyes were calm. This was secondary, though. The most important thing was that if this youth could take out two magical treasures like these, he was obviously a core member of some cultivation family. After pondering for a bit, the old man took out a bag of holding. After taking out 10,000 celestial jades, he threw the bag at Wang Lin. Wang Lin caught it. After using his divine sense to check that the numbers were accurate, he threw the inheritance jade at the old man. The old man immediately caught the jade and carefully looked at it. His face revealed joy before he hesitantly asked, "Do you have more?" Wang Lin looked at the old man and took out the hairpin from his bag of holding. This is also an pseudo-celestial treasure. There was a hint of disappointment in the old man's eyes. He nodded at Wang Lin before turning around and walking out of the green bamboo pavilion. Wang Lin bought some materials from the shop before leaving. The youth inside the shop still couldn't believe what had just happened. While walking down the street, Wang Lin had his divine sense spread out, and the corner of his mouth revealed a mocking smile. A divine sense had been locked onto him this whole time. I'll give you a chance. Wang Lin changed directions toward one of the city's gates. He left the city, took out a flying sword, and flew straight ahead. His speed wasn't fast because he maintained the speed of a core formation cultivator. After he was 5,000 kilometers away, a large cloud of fog suddenly appeared before him. This fog was extremely strange, and it had appeared out of nowhere. In the blink of an eye, the fog condensed into a hand that reached toward Wang Lin. The hand created a shrill whistling sound. The mockery in Wang Lin's eyes became even stronger and lightning flashed in them. At the moment the big hand closed in, Wang Lin waved his hand. A powerful wave of celestial spiritual energy appeared as Wang Lin waved his hand. There was a loud bang and then the big hand immediately vanished. Even the fog behind it was blown back like crazy, and a miserable groan came from inside the fog. You're not a core formation cultivator. The fog dissipated, revealing a thin, middle-aged man. He coughed out blood and lightning started moving across this body. This middle-aged man's face became filled with terror and he retreated without hesitation. There was black lightning coming from his body. Clearly he had activated some kind of spell. Wang Lin calmly glanced at him and casually chased after the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man was only at the mid-stage of nascent soul. If Wang Lin wanted to kill him, it would be effortless. The middle-aged man was terrified. This person had only waved his hand, and that was enough to cause his nascent soul to scatter. If he couldn't return to the family in a short period of time, he would certainly die. He was extremely regretful. He shouldn't have followed to Elder Sun's order to start trouble with this person for some spirit stones. What frightened him even more was that the person was still chasing after him. This life and death pressure almost made him collapse. Several thousand kilometers of distance passed by in a flash. When the middle-aged man entered the city, his face was extremely pale. A majority of his nascent soul had already scattered. He coughed out another mouthful of blood before rushing toward the Sun family's mansion at the center of the city. After arriving here, he could no longer keep his nascent soul from scattering. He shouted in a hoarse voice, "Save me!" As if he had used the last of his strength, his body bent over and directly fell down. A white shadow rushed over. It was a white-robed man. When he caught the middle-aged man, his expression changed slightly. Without any hesitation, he took out a large amount of pills from his bag of holding and poured them into the middle-aged man's mouth. At the same time, various figures charged out of the Sun family's mansion and some even flew into the sky. At this moment, Wang Lin calmly arrived. "You dare to harm people of my Sun family." The people of the Sun family that flew out raised their flying swords and charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin waved his sleeves and created a powerful gale that immediately became a storm. The storm swept all of the Sun family members within 1,000 feet and threw them out. "All of you, back down." A shout came from within the house and then 3 old men came out. Among the 3 was Elder Sun, who had traded with Wang Lin. At this moment, Elder Sun's expression was extremely gloomy. The person who spoke was a red-faced old man. He coldly looked at Wang Lin in the air and coldly asked, "Which family are you from? Do you know that charging into my Sun family's home is a grievous crime?" Wang Lin smiled, pointed at Elder Sun next to the red-faced old man, and said, "I came for him." Elder Sun's expression became even more gloomy and he shouted, "Little child, this old man's trade with you has already ended. Could it be you are regretting it?" Wang Lin shook his head. He pointed at the middle-aged man in a coma and smiled. "It is interesting that I was intercepted by this person right after leaving the shop. After he lost, he ran here." Elder Sun let out a cold snort, but the 2 old men beside him frowned. This matter became very simple to the 2 of them. They guessed that old man's son was greedy for this person's things but couldn't act himself, so he had sent someone else. However, Sun Muren was an elder of the Sun family. Since it had already happened, they would definitely side with him. The red-faced old man coldly smiled. "Absurd. No matter what family you are from, stay here today. Wait for your elder to come and then we can decide whether you live or die. There was a hint of coldness in his eyes as he raised his right hand and pressed down. Suddenly, there were thunderous roars as a powerful pressure pressed down directly on the Sun family's mansion. At this instant, all of the Sun family members' expressions changed greatly. They all cycled the spiritual energy inside their bodies to resist. It was as if they would immediately collapse if they didn't resist. The eyes of the three old men, including elder Sun, lit up, but there was a hint of terror in them. Absurd. Wang Lin's voice was cold. Fellow cultivator, please don't be angry. An ancient voice came from within the house. Following that, an old man in black slowly stepped out. His appearance caused the pressure to dissipate slightly. Although this person's cultivation hadn't reached the ascendant stage, he was at the peak of the late stage of soul transformation, just one step from the ascendant stage. It looked like he was just missing one hint of comprehension to reach breakthrough. However, Wang Lin saw that this old had a hint of an ascendant cultivator's aura. This wasn't because the old man was hiding his cultivation, it was because there was a concealed divine sense from an ascendant cultivator on him. The old man in black said, "This matter is my Sun family's fault and we have offended fellow cultivator." After the old man said this, the three elders were startled, but they were enlightened a moment later. 200,000 celestial jades and we forget about this. Wang Lin calmly looked at the old man. The expression of the old man in black changed slightly. He hesitated for a moment and nodded. "That is fine, it's just that 200,000 celestial jades is a huge sum and this is only a branch of the Sun family. Can fellow cultivator wait 3 days?" Wang Lin profoundly looked at the old man. What he looked at wasn't the old man but at the divine sense of the ascendant cultivator on the old man. It wasn't until Wang Lin was far away that the old man in black relaxed and the ascendant divine sense disappeared from his body. He glared at elder Sun before letting out a cold snort. The red-faced old man hesitated and softly said, 200,000 celestial jades. Even in the main family, it is a large sum. The old man in black coldly said, "Earlier, our family ancestor's divine sense came to me and commanded me to agree to all requests. Not to mention 200,000, even 400,000 would still be given. In addition, information about today's matter is to be sealed. Send out the family order and don't disturb that person." At this moment in the vast ocean on the east side of planet Ranyun, a long-haired man with his upper body naked was sitting in the lotus position in the depths of the ocean. At this instant, he suddenly opened his eyes, and they lit up like two bright lamps in the ocean. He raised his head and looked up at the sky. He muttered to himself, "Could this person be the ascendant cultivator that suddenly appeared? It's just that I can't see through his cultivation. There is something in his body that makes me tremble. This person can't be provoked. Since he is staying at my Sun family's city, perhaps this is a chance for my Sun family." His last glance was a warning. Yes, he was telling me to not disturb him. This person has the qualifications to speak to me like this. The man pondered for a long time. Then he flew directly out from the bottom of the ocean. Wang Lin was prepared to be low-key during his time on planet Ranyun. This would allow him to safely cultivate and quickly raise his cultivation level so he could return to the Alliance star system. However, low-key didn't mean that he was going to be like a real low-level cultivator and endure. True low-key was to not be afraid of others knowing about him and treating what happened around with complete indifference. He would not participate in any of the situations outside. This kind of low-key with this kind of attitude would create an invisible force that would prevent the top existences on planet Ranyun from offending him. This was the result Wang Lin wanted. His steps were gentle as he returned to the housing in the northern part of the city. The youth was still cultivating under the rock. It looked like the youth had been cultivating seriously all day. As soon as he got near, the youth opened his eyes and softly snorted. "You, stop." Wang Lin was startled. He stopped walking and looked at the youth. "Do you know what is most important to cultivators?" "I'll tell you, it is diligence." The young man looked at Wang Lin and said, "Although your talent isn't good, if you are diligent, there is a chance for progress. I have guarded this place for many years, and some of the cultivators that came here have already reached the soul formation stage. They never left early in the morning like you and gave up time that could be spent cultivating to waste time wandering around. Your talent isn't good, so you should be more diligent. Otherwise, you won't be able to form your nascent soul in your lifetime. This lesson made Wang Lin even more startled, and he revealed a wry smile. When the youth saw Wang Lin's expression, his tone became better. The contempt in his eyes also lessened, and he said, "It's not me looking down upon you. You must remember that in the cultivation world, you must not look down upon yourself if you want others to respect you. The spiritual energy here is very dense. If you're done taking care of matters, go into closed-door cultivation for a decade, then maybe there will be a day where you reach the nascent soul stage. By then, I believe you should be able to have some power and responsibility in your family, like me." Wang Lin rubbed his nose. Ever since he became a cultivator, everyone he met had been cunning and selfish. No one would have bothered to say those words to him. After he became powerful, due to all his killing, no one dared to say those things to him. Even senior Dun Tian didn't have too much time with Wang Lin before he died. At this moment, when he was suddenly scolded by this person, he felt melancholy and quickly nodded in agreement. The youth's expression became even better, but he was still serious as he said, "If you have any problems with your cultivation, you can come and ask me. Remember one thing, having no talent isn't terrifying, what is terrifying is laziness. Us cultivators walk against the heavens. We can't relax our hearts and our bodies. If we do, how will we be able to walk against the heavens to cultivate? Go inside, hurry up and cultivate." If anyone who knew Wang Lin saw this, they would be stunned by this scene. Wang Lin's wry smile became even wider. As he entered the gate, he turned around to look at the youth. From the back, the youth looked somewhat thin, and the large clothes on his body seemed unbalanced. At this moment, a gentle breeze flew by. It lifted the youth's hair, and the youth subconsciously moved his hair behind his ear. He seemed to have noticed Wang Lin's gaze. He turned around to look at Wang Lin before turning back around and no longer bothering with Wang Lin. This youth was a woman disguised in men's clothing. Her face was covered with a spell. Wang Lin saw through this the day before, but as for her actual appearance, Wang Lin didn't break past the spell to see. After returning to the house, Wang Lin sat down in the lotus position. He slapped his bag of holding and 1,000 celestial jades immediately flew out. His hand formed a seal and sent out several rays of light toward the large amount of celestial jades. The rich celestial spiritual energy was immediately restrained to the area around Wang Lin without any of it leaking out. Wang Lin closed his eyes and began to cultivate. Strands of celestial spiritual energy entered his body and slowly cycled through him. Time slowly passed. 3 days later, Wang Lin opened his eyes. The 1,000 celestial jades around his body had turned to dust and disappeared. He opened his eyes and looked around. Still not enough celestial jades. Ascendant cultivation can't compare to soul transformation at all. Back at the soul transformation stage, I could still bear the cost, but now at the ascendant stage, the amount of celestial spiritual energy required is too large. Even with the 200,000 jades from the Sun family, I still won't be able to reach the mid-stage of ascendant. As for the late stage, the amount required will be unimaginable. There is also the peak of the ascendant stage and breaking into the yin and yang stage. Wang Lin's eyebrows knitted tightly together. This was something he didn't understand. Celestial jades were already very scarce, and soul transformation cultivators needed to use them on a daily basis. As the countless years passed, a large number of celestial jades would be consumed. The celestial realm was already gone, so where did all these celestial jades come from? Wang Lin had thought about this before but couldn't think of anything. Also, this is only the first step of cultivation, yet it requires such a large number of celestial jades. How many celestial jades would a cultivator in the second step need? Wouldn't someone like the All-Seer need be the same amount of celestial jades as several ascendant cultivators? Wang Lin's eyebrows knitted tighter. Could it be that the second step doesn't need celestial jades? Or is it that there is a special way to replace celestial jades? A bold guess entered Wang Lin's mind. As he pondered, he moved his head. There was a gentle breeze and the old man in black from the Sun family appeared outside the house. Wang Lin waved his right hand and removed the restriction on the house. The old man quickly entered, and after hesitating for a moment, he also lowered his cultivation level to the core formation stage. He entered the room with a bitter smile in his heart. Senior, I was in a rush last time, so I didn't introduce myself. Junior is Sun family member Sun Chiming. I am the person in charge of the city here. I was wondering if I may learn Senior's name. The old man was extremely respectful. For the old ancestor to personally come out, this was someone he couldn't offend. Wang Lin calmly said, Shu Mu. Senior Shu, the 200,000 celestial jades have been prepared by the family. Please check them. The old man quickly took out a bag of holding. The old man couldn't help but sigh. 200,000 celestial jades were gifted just like that by the old ancestor. This immediately showed how abnormal this person was. After taking the bag, Wang Lin didn't check it. He believed that that fellow ascendant cultivator from the Sun family wouldn't try to cheat him on this. After the old man handed over the bag of holding, he quickly said, Senior can rest assured, Junior has already given the order to make sure yesterday's matter doesn't spread. No one even knows that Junior came here today, so no one will disturb Senior's cultivation. In addition, if Senior wants to go into closed-door cultivation, there are better places in the city. Wang Lin calmly said, No need. You can go. The old man quickly and respectfully backed up. After hesitating a little, he said, Senior, in 7 days, the Ran family's whole treasure pavilion will have an auction. It will include a rank 8 fake god pill. Wang Lin's gaze coldly swept the old man. The old man immediately trembled and swallowed the latter part of his sentence. The room was completely quiet and time passed by. However, to the old man, it felt very long. It was as if each breath lasted a year. This silence created a silent pressure that made the old man tremble. He didn't want to do this, but the family ordered him to test this person's cultivation, so he had to bite the bullet and ask the question. However, there was a hint of hope in his heart that this silence wasn't because Senior Shu Mu saw through his words but was tempted by the rank 8 fake god pill. Shortly after, Wang Lin slowly opened his mouth. Bring it here. The old man's face was pale as he stared at Wang Lin. He immediately reacted and took out a red token. He whispered, This is a token for the auction. You can go. After receiving the token, Wang Lin closed his eyes. The old man quickly left the house and let out a breath of relief. Cold sweat had already soaked his clothes, and at this moment, Wang Lin's cold words entered his ears. There won't be a second time. The old man's expression suddenly became pale. He quickly turned around and respectfully bowed before disappearing in a breeze. In a remote part of the city, he reappeared and wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. At the moment Wang Lin's words entered his ears, he knew that all his thoughts had been seen through by him. This level of scheming made him terrified. He acted according to what the family told him and used the rank 8 fake god pill to test Wang Lin. If Wang Lin took the token, then it meant that Wang Lin was most likely an ascendant cultivator. If Wang Lin wasn't tempted, he was to evacuate all family members inside the city without any explanation. He had already gotten his answer, but his heart was unsettled. Rank 8 pill, Wang Lin pondered as he held the token. Wang Lin knew the ranking of pills very well. After all, Li Muwen was an alchemy grandmaster. There were 9 ranks for pills, and each rank had low, mid, and high quality. Rank 9 pills could be considered god pills, rank 8 were fake god pills, and rank 7 were celestial pills. Back when Wang Lin formed his nascent soul, he swallowed a high-quality rank 6 pill. The ranks of these pills were made up by the later generations. Although names like celestial and god sound amazing, they can't compare to the real celestial and god pills. The differences are like heaven and earth. To be more accurate, rank 9 pills are the limit. If one reaches the second step, pills become ineffective unless they obtain real celestial and god pills. However, with my current cultivation level, a rank 8 pill is still effective. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he made his decision. That black-robed junior wouldn't dare to test my cultivation with the pill. It must be the Sun family's ascendant cultivator. He couldn't see through my cultivation and used this gentle method to test my cultivation. If I wasn't tempted, that would mean that I have already stepped past the first step of cultivation. Wang Lin touched the bag holding containing 200,000 celestial jades and then put this matter in the back of his mind. This video will end here.